pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do not have our council here this evening, but we now have some family members to attend to. And so we're going to rely on the video. Let me see if I can see if that's gone. The recorder, and Cindy has offered to take some notes. Can I give it to
Record.
Okay, did it go on?
Red light.
Yes, let's go.
Okay, welcome everyone this evening to our town board meeting. Our first piece of business is that we received a letter from Justice Jason Shaw informing us that he will have to resign as of May 1st, 2017, because he will be selling his home and moving out of the town. I think I should read the letter. Dear Maria, this confirms that effective May 1st, I'm resigning as town justice. Our home is now under contract of sale, and Kate and I will not reside in the town of Chatham once our house is sold. Thus, I will no longer be able to sit as Chatham town justice. My last court night will be the second Wednesday of April. I've enjoyed immensely working with Judge Warder Foster and Joan Hood over the years. I realize the town board may be appointing a town justice to fill the vacancy until January 1st, 2018. For some time now, our court calendar has been very busy. This may be due in part to the fact that the court is now held only twice monthly, when in the past we held court weekly, with each judge having 2 sessions a month. It is not unusual for the court to begin at 5 p.m. and continue until 8:30 p.m. Judge Warder Foster and I are both attorneys and have become proficient at moving the cases on our calendars. However, a newly appointed judge will have a difficult time handling the volume of cases we have so as to allow court to end at a reasonable time. Thus, I make the following recommendations for the future. First, I recommend that the town board, if possible, appoint someone who is either an attorney or who has had previous experience as a judge in a high-volume court, or both. Second, unless there's a change in the case volume, serious consideration should be given to requesting that the district attorney's office provide an assistant district attorney on a weekly basis. Finally, if the town board makes its selection of a new town justice in March or even early April, I am happy to have the person selected shadow me at my court nights. Very sincerely, Jason Shaw. Okay. This is a public comment statement. The Chatham Town Board appreciates information received from the public during the public comment portion of each meeting, which often is very helpful in the governance of the town. It is, however, not intended to be a debate with the public or a question and answer period. Issues raised during the public comment may be addressed by the board during this regular meeting or by the supervisor between meetings as necessary. As a courtesy to the other members of the public, there is a 5-minute per person limitation on oral comments for each public comment period. The public is also encouraged to provide the board with written comments or materials when the subject matter cannot be presented in the time frame. Of course, while the board discourages any remarks which may be considered defamatory or stigmatizing, it will not restrict the content of the public comment. Okay, I'll open up the public comment. Anyone choose to make any comments? There will be a second comment later in the meeting. Okay. Let's move on to the subcommittee reports. Councilwoman Heber and Councilman Hoffner, would you like to us about the Rec and Park Commission.
Can I briefly say, our meeting is next Monday, a week from now. And on that agenda, we'll be working on continuing discussion about how to organize fundraising and for the park, and also beginning to talk about some type of summer publicity so that we increase awareness of the park and hopefully its use. Other developments is the children's garden has come along, and we're kind of reaching fruition in that process. And we've had a number of meetings with the schools and have an agreement with the technology teacher in the middle school and the high school that they'll be building various things for the park based on what's needed and what they can do. And they'll decide what those projects are later on in the year for next fall. And the school also has decided to continue its Arbor Day tradition in the park. So it'll be devoting, offering a tree every year. And their first hope is to try to line the area along the bank. I don't know if they're working on with pine trees, so that rather than, if there's enough room in there, rather than when you're swimming or looking out from the pavilion, you're looking at Crowley Plastics, you'll be looking at pine trees. Then it'll take them a few years to fill in, but that's the first thought that they're hoping to do.
When is Arbor Day?
Arbor Day is May.
It's May.
Yeah, it's kind of near the end of the school. And the senior class does it every year, and they basically run out of room at the high school. So I think it's a really nice gesture.
Yeah.
Something that over time will make a difference at the park. And that's really where we stand in terms of development of things. We're also, you're aware of, I guess it's really not the park so much as the budget, but the mower is.
Well, we have that under new business.
Okay.
Did you want to point out the other request or the activities there?
The bicycle race? Yeah, we were approached by Chatham Brewery, who has organized a bike race that takes place on May 31st. They've in the past used the fairgrounds as a place to kick off and return to and kind of reassemble, and they've asked if they could move that to the park. We're kind of talking with them about what activities might be included in that. And Mike's handling that, but we suspect that something with that bike race will occur in the park on Memorial Day. So we're really looking to, all these things are really an effort to really increase usage and different groups that use the park and find it beneficial for the community.
Andrew, did you have anything to add?
No, other than that we're meeting on the 27th again, so after that we'll probably have some more information.
All right, well, Councilman Malcolm, Citizens Finance and Planning Committee.
Okay, we met last Friday for our first meeting of the year. And the task that we decided to take on immediately first is compiling salary information and benefits and time for elected officials for each town, so we can do a comparison. Tammy does a lot of that work already. We just want to make sure that we have our criteria right and we're comparing apples to apples, so we understand between each of the towns what's going on. And Michael Richardson has provided us with a couple copies of employee practices manuals, which will be the next part of the employee personnel manual here, Rhinebeck and Catskill, and we'll take a look at those, and rather than reinventing the wheel, just probably take one of those and adjust it to meet our needs here in Chatham. So that shouldn't take much time. Other than that, there was a dirt road discussion, but we may ask you to come to that committee meeting also, Joe, because dirt roads is it's a lot more complex than people understand. The upkeep and comparison between paving, and it's not an easy topic. And to the board, if there's any priorities that you have, just let us know. We will get to it, but I think the 2 items that we have going are probably pretty good start. And let's hope for no budget problems. We don't want to get interrupted with that again this year.
I think we'll know better once we get the org done.
Yeah, Jim Johnson has been doing a lot of work with the information that's been coming in through the accounting firm and the supervisor's reports. But until we get the AUD done, annual update document done, and we know, because that's basically the Bible, until we had that document done, we don't know exactly how much unreserved surplus we have. But it's looking pretty good at this time. So.
I just signed an extension for that because Lisa Gill hasn't compiled all the year-end accrual information. We're still paying bills that go back to 2016, so once that's all wiped out, then she can start on it.
Did she have a date in mind when she'd be able to produce that? That's an
A
important...
date?
Yeah.
Probably mid to late March.
Yeah, well, we have to March 31st, so she should, she'll probably hit that. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, and we'll go right into the advisory committee to work. What do we got here? Well, comprehensive plan implementation committee, which met last night. We had Nan Stolzenberg. This group is meeting twice a week, 2 hours a night. There's 5 members and 2 very active community members, 3 actually, community members who have joined in. They're welcome to the table, and we go line by line and work our way through. Nan was with us last night to answer a lot of our questions that we've been compiling from the beginning of the year. One of the things that is going to really be helpful is we're going to update the usage table so that it's one table across all the zones, so that you can see very clearly in one place what the different uses for each zone will be. That should be immensely helpful. It's a common practice throughout most towns. The way we do it, of putting all the uses at the end of each zone, is very old and outdated. Not a common practice anymore. And it's also very difficult because you have to keep flipping back and forth trying to figure out what's going on in each one. This will make things a lot easier. So we also have successfully obtained the Hudson River Valley Greenway Grant. It's a $7,500 grant, which in essence means $15,000. It's a 50-50 grant. I went down to the FDR Museum. That's where they meet on February 1st to represent Chatham. Very interesting meeting. I've never realized what a big board that is, and it's filled with very important people. And I just spoke briefly about the project, and just by doing that, that finished our responsibility. Maria received the memorandum of understanding today, and as soon as we execute that, then that $7,500 will become available for us to use for the work that we're doing, just the in-kind work, we probably will take up to 7,500, but that also includes the consultants and,
That offsets the 19,000 that we budgeted.
so we now will have 7,500 available from that. So that's a good thing.
That's a great thing.
Yeah. That's it.
Well, thank you very much for applying for that grant, Tom. That's great. Okay, climate smart.
Okay, yeah, we met on February 7th, and we spent a lot of time discussing the installation of an electrical vehicle charging stations in the parking lot between the Tracy and Chatham Brewery as one of our high-impact actions for the Clean Energy Communities program, and came to the conclusion that this is something that is very doable. What we're looking at, that for a 2-port charging station, we can access up to $16,000 in grant funds from the DEC, which would require a 20% match. Again, it can be stuff that's in kind, you know, various things. So it's a 20% match, and the application has to be filed by March 31st with the DEC. And I know we have to go through their grants gateway. Maybe you know that we've done grants with the DEC in the Highway Department, haven't we? Or
No.
no, we haven't, because if we don't have a portal, we're going to have to apply for one. And I don't know whether the town has one or not. If we haven't applied for a DEC grant, we may well not have one.
Find out. You don't get some?
Not since I've been here.
Yeah.
There may have been one.
It's the DEC grants gateway, and it's something that if we don't have, we have to apply for it quickly, because it actually takes a snail mail application. Okay, so we'll have, so at any rate, in order to come up with some money for the matching funds, Robin Reynolds, who is with the Capital Region Planning Commission, has been just a font of help and good information. And she has suggested that we might want to pass a resolution that would, for permitting personal charging stations in residential areas. And if we did that, it would entitle us to $2,500 that amazingly we could apply towards our matching grant, which really puts us up, you know, gives us a real leg up there.
Now, excuse me, when you say residential areas, you mean like in front of somebody's house?
Well,
or in front of like church? Or
well, this is what we have to do.
store?
This is what we have to determine. But I mean, I'm assuming that it's something that, you know, in a zoned area, there might have to be stipulations that, you know, it's going to be maybe in their driveway and not necessarily on the street, you know. But these are things that are really you know, they take a long time to charge. So we're not really talking about, you know,
2-hour charging only gives them 40%.
yeah, 2-hour charging. I think they said what, 20 to 40 miles, something like
You can get up
that.
to 40 miles on
Yeah.
that charge, but
Yeah, so
they're not going to be putting them on private property.
Right.
It's going to be public property.
yeah, but the private property stuff would be that, and the $2,500 is pretty.
Maybe a crown.
Well, you know, that's a possibility. The thing is, we've got here a deadline of March 31st. And obviously, I don't have right in front of me, maybe Henry or Jan might remember how much it costs to install a single, you know, a 2-port station. Either of you?
I know, but the important part was getting the paperwork filed and getting things moving forward. And the reason why we're looking to get it done is we're going to be working in cooperation with the village on one charging station at our end of the village, and again's going to be working with the village to work on one on the other side of the village. So it helps getting our points that we need to get everything going.
Yeah. So this might be.
Robin can send us I thought she was gonna have.
She was going to, and I just emailed her, she had sent us some documents, and I must say I haven't really gotten to all of them. Then I realized she had not sent, she was going to send some sample resolutions, and I emailed her and asked her to please do that right away, particularly for this one, because if we could pass that at our workshop meeting, then we will have that piece in our application. So we're working on that, and I have, we are also going to need to pass a resolution that at least outlines the terms of an understanding with the village. And I've been in touch with Tom Curran, who says the village is very interested, and I'm in the process of trying to set up a meeting with him hopefully next week to start to work out the details, and hopefully a couple members of the committee can come along, people who may have more expertise than I do. And so that's, moving along pretty exciting. And Dennis, as Henry said, Gant is going to be doing it at the other end of the village, and I think it's a great win-win-win situation. Then in terms of doing the application, the committee is going to be collaborating via email and a Google Doc that actually Robin has not yet set up, but hopefully we can do a lot of stuff online and not have to have extra meetings if we can avoid that. And then further, we discussed the implementation of our benchmarking resolution that we passed earlier this, a few months ago. And that resolution requires us to file our first report by May 31st, and that's coming up, and Robin is going to be setting up the procedures for us. And finally, our preliminary meeting of the Energy Code Enforcement training was scheduled for February 13th, but because of inclement weather, it's been rescheduled to March 2, and there is no snow forecast for that day. And we've been, and members of the Kinderhook Village Climate Committee have also been invited. We're hoping to, this whole project, we hope we can start getting some cooperation among the various things. And then the last, another resolution. The board passed a resolution some time ago adopting the unified solar permit. But since then, a new version has been created which raises a maximum permitted kilowatts to 25 from 12.5. And it just basically, I think, just modernizes the process, because we can't use the unified solar permit if somebody wants to go above the 12.5. However, the Van Calhoun mentioned that the comprehensive plan doesn't allow for more than 12.5 kilowatts, so that might be something that would need to be looked at by your committee, Bob.
We also have to be careful because the power companies don't like you to go over a certain amount of kilowatts either.
Yeah.
So
we need to examine that a little bit. And we have decided to put the Solarize campaign on the back burner for now because we've got a lot on our plate. And actually, if we accomplish everything else I've listed, we don't even actually need to do the Solarize, but it would be nice. Yeah. So that's my thing. Henry, Jan, either of you have?
I guess only I'd add to it is, I don't think, even though it's on the back burner for now, I think with the committee that we have and the activity it has, I would think that we would continue further to reach out for that solar.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't think we would just stop.
No, it won't stop, but I'm just saying that because these four things, we can get those four things.
We'll prioritize it with those four, but we'll continue on with more
absolutely
if we can.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice that you're working with, collaborating with the other towns.
Right,
The
yeah.
two towns.
So that's pretty much it. I think I basically sent this report out, so, but anybody have any questions?
No, but that Solarize campaign is a tough one.
I know, that's why
It's a real time.
we've got the others going, and we don't want to get bogged down Because I think what we've got on our plates is probably going to keep us busy for a little while.
Good. Okay. So, do you want to make a report on the communications?
Yeah, we met on January 24th, and basically we talked about the social media policy, particularly about Facebook. I don't know if maybe you had something.
We're going to talk about that later on the agenda, and Sal Palazzo has some comments about to
Yeah.
research that.
So that, you know, basically, that was, you know, pretty much the entire topic. We're meeting again, I think, on next Tuesday. And hopefully we will proceed more with the social, with the, you know, with our internet policies and that. And get on with trying to get our communication system, you know, running like a smoothly oiled machine. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I saw a little card by the photocopier. We're taking email addresses now as part of communication.
We have been, yeah, for a long time. It used to be on the clerk's counter. So it was moved over there, that's why maybe you haven't seen it.
Right. Something for people to know. You can sign up to get email notifications from the town. I didn't know you could do that.
Joe?
First on my report tonight, no correspondence, but that changed as of today. Finally have a little bit of reply from DOT, which is disturbing. They're complaining about the stacking problem that potentially could happen out onto 295 now. Why it took them 8 to 9 months to come out with that, I don't know. I mean, we had our meeting in what, April or May of last year. I certainly know if I took this long to issue a permit, I'd wind up in court somewhere. But this is, I spoke to Tom literally 15 minutes before I came to the meeting. Tom Beard from Barton and LaJudas, and they're going to get working on this on Monday to see if there's a way that they can increase the distance. I guess if we can't come up with a standard that DOT is going to like, we may have to talk about eliminating the light system and coming up with something different. Possibly a stop sign on the other side of the turnpike with a sign that says, you know, traffic on the bridge has right of way first, or whatever, something that spells something better out if DOT can't come up with a, you know, a reason to stop us on the light. It sounds like this is troublesome, you know, and it's very vague. It doesn't really say exactly what they're looking for storage on that side, but they're just stating out that the 55 feet is not enough. To the original plan, it was 98 feet before. That's without a light system. So they're talking also too about possibly moving the light up onto the bridge instead of having it down farther to gain a little bit more distance. So that's what Tom is going to look at next week to see if that's something that, you know, we could feasibly do to move that light up further onto the bridge.
Okay.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So what they did was collect data about what they thought the amount of traffic would be that would back up along that right in front of the...
Yeah, well, actually, we did that. We did that, and then they came back and wanted a more in-depth study, which we did, and we had Barton and LaJudas out there at major traffic times to see what the flow was. So we did all that work months ago, and now in February they're just throwing this back at us, and it's just, to me, it just acts to me like it's a stall tactic. I mean, I've been constantly calling Dawn Arnold. I've probably been on the phone with her 8 different times now to get this project underway, because it's very important that we get out to bid for it now before the construction season gets started and everybody's off doing work and we can't get a contractor to come in and do the work. So I'm trying to, you know, get things moving. And also on Friday, I got a call from Jeff Cleary from Senator Marchion's office wondering why we haven't been using the grant money that I applied for when the project was supposed to be completed at the end of 2016. So the senator is not very happy. First of all, she wasn't very happy with me, you know, wondering where I've been, why I haven't got this project underway. And then I got to turn around and say, well, it's really not my fault. It's the state's fault. You know, it's DOT's fault. They're sitting on our permits and not issuing our permits. And then they come, you know, so I put the heat back on Dawn Arnold, so to speak, and this is what I get. So, you know, that's where we're at. Jeff wants me to call him tomorrow, and the senator is willing to put heat on DOT if she needs to. But if they're going to come back with something like this to the senator also, that, you know, we're creating a safety condition out there, and they're not happy with it, then there's really not much we could do.
Do you think it's valid, their concern?
I think part of it is valid, yeah. I mean, I think we knew that, we all knew that in the beginning. We told them that, they understood that too. Yeah, if you get a tractor, like they put a tractor trailer there that's 53 feet long.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you're gonna be able to store there. But, you know, later on in the process, I was gonna say, you need to relook at your speed limit through East Chatham. You need to, in my eyes, you need to extend their speed zone basically from the thruway bridge all the way out to the railroad bridge in Canaan. And they won't accept you telling them what speed you want it to, but I think if it was 30 miles an hour, that's gonna, you know, that's only gonna be better for people coming up over that hill. And if there is a traffic jam in 295, they're gonna be able to stop a little quicker. Seal, you know, stop a little quicker.
See, we make that a road that the trucks weren't allowed to go over, so the backup would not be 153-foot truck wouldn't be able to.
We could put a weight limit on it, sure.
That would restrict
And
the vehicles,
yeah.
and we'd only be, then you'd have to have multiple cars to meet that 53-foot mark.
Right.
It would give us some
That
room.
might inhibit the commerce though. You've got trucks maybe delivering to.
You got trucks
Chatham.
delivering to
But
Old
you can't
Chatham,
stop.
but they could come
Yeah.
up 13 or down 13.
Weight limits are good for that, but they're also, you can't, like fuel oil trucks and general deliveries, you have a hard time
Right.
stopping that type of delivery. They're legally obligated to be
Right.
able to use that road to do that. I'm talking about regular tractor trailers on that road, the big, there's not much that a tractor trailer is gonna have to deliver
Right.
on that road, they gotta go over that bridge. It's not like there's any commerce there, it's all residential all the way through. I don't think any business from that side
Well,
over.
the highway department, and I always direct anybody that's coming in with a tractor trailer to use 13.
Yeah, so,
You know, I don't want them going on my roads.
yeah.
You know, those things are, you know, they're equivalent to 150 cars going on the road, just one truck, weight-wise, so. This is, I just want to let you know, this is where I'm at with them. I know I'm not happy about this, what I read. I sent it to Adele today, she's not happy. I mean, you know, it's,
Is there anything else we can do as a board?
I think it's with the engineers.
I don't know, really now it's back in the lap of our engineers. And they have more work to do, which is going to in the long run cost us more money, which is going to delay the project even further.
Well, did Tom say that he would get on it right away?
Monday, he's in on a throughway project right now for tomorrow, and so he said Monday he would be on this.
Maybe if we can turn something around within a week or two.
Yeah.
That's a problem we can, let's get the state to react.
You know, I don't know what else to do other than to, you know.
Well, anything.
And
that
it
we-
seems like the more phone calls you make and the more you complain, the slower they go.
I would suggest anything that. we
I'm
do-
ready to go to governor and tell him he needs to fix his own house before he comes into ours and tries to fix ours. That's,
Maybe
you can
anything.
quote me on that if you want. You know, his deal with the shared services certainly doesn't work out between DOT and the towns or the villages. They do this to everybody. I'm not the only town complaining. As a matter of fact, I'm having Bernie Meyer go to the State Association of Towns with this, because it's a problem. It's a, you know, if someone came before me and I took this on a permit process, like I said, we'd be in court, because I'd be holding up the process.
Well, maybe Tom can copy the senator's office with anything that he has, so they understand that we're being held up.
Well, a weight reduction might be.
That's not a bad idea, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
I really didn't think of that, because we can enact a weight reduction at any time, just pass a resolution, and I put the signs up, so.
Yeah.
Any road, anywhere, we can do a speed limit on any bridge at any time too, so, like we did. Or 5 miles an hour is a little too slow. Believe me, I can't do 5 miles an hour going across that, but, you know, so that might be something that we can definitely, and that might settle part of their problem about the 53-foot trailer there.
Well, we could
I
pass a
assume that wouldn't be
resolution
a
on the
pro-
second.
That wouldn't be a problem with emergency vehicles or anything
They're
like that.
exempt.
Yeah.
For example.
School buses?
School buses won't, if it's a weight limit, they won't go through it.
Yeah, you're not 53 feet anyway.
Those kids don't weigh much.
So anyway, that's part of number 1 and number 2, the correspondence here, and then number 2 is the update on East Chatham Bridge. And that's where I'm at with it. Number 3 is a resolution request, which I don't know if you want to wait for that or if you want to go now. That's up to you. It's for the accepting of bids for aggregate and calcium chloride.
As long as you're here,
Let's
why
knock
don't
it
we do
off.
that?
Do you have to read out the resolutions or do you
Is that resolution email?
Yes, it was set email with all three, there's 3 resolutions, or 2 resolutions and one regard.
There you go. I'll find it right now. That's 57, right?
All right. So, resolution number 57, 2017. Whereas the Chatham Town Board accepts bids for miscellaneous aggregate and calcium chloride for the period from April 1st, 2017 through March 31st, 2018. And whereas the Chatham Town Board awards portions of the bids to more than one bidder based upon availability, location of material, location of potential job sites, and/or price of the various materials, lowest bidder to highest bidder, and therefore, the Chatham Town Board accepts the following bids for miscellaneous aggregates and calcium chloride for the period April 1, 2017 through March 31st, 2018. Therefore, be it resolved, the Chatham Town Board accepts the bids as follows.
You have to read the second page.
That's why.
Oh.
It's not that bad. If you want.
Okay. No,
All right.
Okay, the miscellaneous aggregates are washstone number 1, bidder number 1, Troy Sand and Gravel, $8.50 per ton. Washstone number 2, bidder number 1, Troy Sand and Gravel, $8.50 per ton. Number 3 is bidder number 1, Troy Sand and Gravel, $8.50 per ton. Washstone 1 and 2, Troy Sand and Gravel, $8.50 per ton. Stone fill, bidder number 1 is Troy Sand and Gravel, $9 per ton. Crusher run quarry, Troy Sand and Gravel, $7.50 per ton. Crusher run bank run, Riffenberg, $6.75 per ton. Stone dust, Riffenberg, $6 per ton. Bidder number 2, Troy Sand and Gravel, $6.50 per ton. Bank run gravel, bidder number 1, Troy Sand and Gravel, $3.65 per ton. Bidder number 2 is Polaro Sand and Gravel at $3.85 per ton, and number 3 is Riffenberg at $3.90 per ton. Item number 4, gravel. Bidder number 1 is Troy Sand and Gravel at $5 per ton. Number 2 is Riffenberg at $5.60 per ton. Number 3 is Polero Sand and Gravel at $5.85 per ton, and number 4 is Bob Bowl Excavating at $10.75 per ton. 1-inch gravel, bidder number 1 is Polero Sand and Gravel at $5.85 per ton. Riprap, bidder number 1 is Troy Sand and Gravel at $9 per ton. Cobble, bidder number 1 is Polero Sand and Gravel, $6.85 per ton. Bidder number 2 is Bob Bowl Excavating at $9.50 per ton. Shale, bidder number 1, Bob Bowl Excavating at $8 per ton. 6-inch shale, bidder number 1 is Bob Bowl Excavating at $8.75 per ton. Calcium chloride, bidder number 1, the Gorman Group, 32% liquid calcium delivered to tank, 84 cents per gallon. 35% liquid calcium delivered to tank, 84 cents per gallon. 35% liquid calcium applied, $1.18 per gallon.
Okay, can we have a motion and a second on that, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we've got resolution number 58, 2017. Whereas the accepted bid for the guardrail on February 18, 2016 is allowed for extension of bid for 1 year at the existing prices acceptable to the town of Chatham and vendor. And whereas the Chatham Town Board accepts the extension of contract for guardrail from April 1, 2017 through March 31, 2018 from Town and Country Bridge and Rail, Albany, New York. And therefore, be it resolved that the Chatham Town Board accepts the following 2016 guardrail bid to be extended for an additional year per same terms and conditions from April 1, 2017 through March 31, 2018. Guardrail and post installation. Bid 1, sole bidder, Town and County Bridge and Rail. W-beam rail, length 12 feet 6 inches, unit price $5.84 a foot, unit price used $3.34 per foot. Box beam rail, length 18 feet and 24 feet, unit price new $20.74 per foot, unit price used $18.67 per foot. 3-inch eye posts, unit price new $40.67 per foot, unit price used $15.94 each. Single buffer ends, $43 each. Type 1 ends, $357 each. Radius W beam, $9.67 per foot. Radius box beam, $29 per foot. Complete layout installation with beam rail posts, $6.45 per foot. Complete layout installation, box beam rail posts, $7.75 per foot. Layout installation posts only, unit price used $294 per, I think that must be a foot.
Per hour.
Per hour.
Per hour.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, installation, yeah.
Yeah.
Prices include all assembly hardware. And this is a letter from Town and Country Bridge and Rail. Please be advised the Town and Country Bridge and Rail is agreeable to extend the 2016 guardrail bid for an additional year for same conditions and terms. Please feel free to contact us at 423-1223 with any questions or concerns. Sincerely, Christopher Hart, Secretary Treasurer. Okay, can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, John.
Great, thank you. Now, to number 4 on my report is vehicle problem that we had in the last snowstorm.
I think the
problem that I have that's, I feel is excessive, I'm going to bring to the town board this year because of our budget and equipment replacement program. The truck that is in question is truck number 75, which is a 2007 F550. The transmission fluid is burning it. Also, the oil pan is not leaking yet, but it's not far behind. It's rusted very badly. And we're having a problem with the engine on startup. Basically, you have to hold the pedal down halfway to get the truck to start, which means it's got an internal problem. It could be an injector leaking. It could be something a little bit simpler. There's a module underneath the valve covers that aligns the cylinders before you go to start mode on a diesel. It could possibly be that. Won't really know until you got it to somebody to diagnose it properly. The transmission, I feel, it's 10 years old, and it's pushed snow, and it's just, I could have it flushed and cleaned out, and maybe by the last one we did that, we bought 3 days out of. So I don't really have a good track record on that. The transmission from Orange Ford, with the oil cooler and the lines and everything, is 3824, and that's us putting it in. Oil pan, replacing an oil pan, which requires the engine to be jacked up because of the situation underneath with the pipe with the arms. I put in an estimate of about $1,200 to do that. And the engine work, I'm figuring the worst, that it is an injector, 1 or 2 or whatever. They're about $1,000 a piece, so I'm just figuring out about $1,800. So where I'm sitting just to keep the truck moving is about $7,000.
When was that truck due to be replaced?
That truck was on my list to be replaced this year. So that's what I priced out with a new truck. Using the existing sander, I can't use the existing plow because of the differences in the frame buildup. So I would need about $70,000 to purchase a new one, which would have to be done by permissive referendum. Either way, it's going to be a little bit of a slow process because we have to do the permissive referendum before we can order the truck and purchase one.
So this was something that was actually budgeted because...
This is not, well, the truck, we tried to budget it, and, you know, when Mike came in and explained to us, you know, where we were sitting and stuff, if you remember, if I remember it right, that was about the same price as our excavator, which he had said where I was standing at last year. We have money left over, so we'd have enough to purchase the excavator, but for the trucks that needed to be replaced, he felt that if we waited 6 months, I came in and asked you for them, then we could borrow the money, but the payment wouldn't be due until 2018. So that's kind of where we stand.
That's right.
I just don't want to turn around, I don't want to turn around and spend, first of all, I didn't budget for this type of a repair because we were trying to do more of a, you know, a more balanced budget. So anything that's unanticipated repair like this, I think I'm just going to bring it to you every year and, you know, every month and just say, you know, this is where I stand. I always did that like 2 years ago. I did that with Jesse on this same truck. We put $5,000 into the motor 2 years ago. But that was in October. We had no choice. I needed a plow truck for the winter, so we went and did it. But
Could this truck out of service, how is that going to hurt the rest of the season?
I have a spare, so
The reason I'm asking you, right, to put you on the spot is,
yeah.
I'm thinking I think this thing's a lost truck. I think we need to replace it. So whether we get something else during the snow season here, we still got another month and a half maybe.
I have a pickup that I could use as a spare, but I also have, you know, we've had breakdowns before to where we've just had other guys pick up on the road, so we've kind of covered it.
I guess what I'm getting at is I'm afraid that we've lost one. There's a possibility of maybe just something dire coming that we could lose another one. So we're gonna have to take a loan out on a truck if we can push it a little bit further, and if we have an issue, we're putting a loan out for both pieces of equipment instead of just one.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking breakage is terrible, on our road, it's tough on our equipment.
Well, it is, and I'm amazed that every day when we bring them back that they're still running, you know, especially in the conditions that our dirt roads are in now.
So how far out do you think we could go before we had to make a decision and replace?
I think we run it until it stops moving. I mean, I don't think we're gonna hurt anything else. I mean, what I would like to do is do the same thing I did to the other one, and that is send it over to Ultralube in Nassau and have them do a VG flush on the transmission. You know, the fluid is burnt, and I still have black on my hand from how burnt it is, but we at least can get it flushed and cleaned out, get the valve cleaned out, and hopefully be able to buy some more time with it. Right now, it's like it shifts really hard from first to second, but which isn't really a total concern to me. If we flush it, that will probably go away. But what concerns me the most is that you put it in reverse and you're gonna sit there and wait a little bit before it actually engages and backs up, which is that reverse ring. Which to just replace that alone is $1,800. So you're kind of crazy not to just go ahead and do the whole transmission.
Where did this truck sit in terms of the capital plan for?
It's at 10 years right now.
It's at 10 years. So,
Yeah.
so it was planned to
It's
be
almost
replaced
No.
now anyway.
And what else this year were you
To
going
get
to
to the
replace?
season.
We don't have the
Right.
schedule. That's what we should look
I
at.
don't know if I told you, I remember the
Define
small excavator, I remember that.
Well, maybe next week we should talk to Mike Cucci and start putting that bond process in place.
Yeah, but I recollect the same way you do that. The goal was to just push it into
Push it.
like the half-year point.
Yeah.
And then we'd be able to get the loan in. It wouldn't even come due till 18.
Right.
It would buy us the time.
In
So,
which I remember on his schedule, what he had figured out was, I think we're replacing 4 or 5 pieces. And
yeah.
our payment was only gonna be $43,000 a year. I mean, I do remember that number.
So maybe we should have a conference call with him next week.
Yeah, I agree. I think in the meantime, I'll make an appointment to at least get that transmission flushed, because I wanna try and put it out there in another snowstorm with it the way it is.
That's not good to know again.
No more stuff.
I like that, that's fine with me.
We do it one week this year.
Yeah, we just about did. As you can see, when I go into number 5 is our highway maintenance, all the dates that we plowed and sanded. And I've talked to you about our road salt. Our contracted amount for this year was 700 tons of regular salt and 200 tons of treated. To date, we haven't totally completed. They got a couple more loads to bring in, but we're right at 900 tons. So there is no more snow for the rest of the year. I mean, I still have 200 ton sitting for whatever happens between now and the rest of the season, but perfect call. And I'd just like to say that on those Freedom 2 controllers, we're saving a tremendous amount of material. Our shed is still, our sand supply is at least maybe a little bit less than half. So we're doing really well. I've ordered another unit, which I had planned for anyway, out of the equipment account. That should be here any day, and that'll be the 5th truck that will be completed with that Freedom 2 controller.
How many trucks in total? 5 of how many?
5 of 8.
5 of 8.
But I probably wouldn't bother doing the other 3, basically because they're going to need to be replaced fairly soon. But also, they're dedicated to dirt roads, and yeah, it's nice to know how many tons of sand you're putting down, but it's not really. You can't really get a good calculation on how to treat a dirt road. Every storm is different. You know, this year, for whatever reason, even though the ground's been soft, they've been icing up real fast. So, you know, we are winding up going through a little bit more sand than I anticipated, but still, we're way ahead of schedule. We're saving, we've got a good amount of material left. That brings me on to B, which is our road grading. because of last month's 50-degree temperatures, we had some road grading to do on Highland Road, Bashford Road, Percy Hill Road, Dorland Road, Pitts Road, Sutherland Road, Richmond Road, Bowman Road, and Rupp Road. All of these roads that are on the list have several spots in them that we're gonna have to dig out this summer and put some road fabric in and get some good gravel bases to them. I'll be honest with you, between Highland Road, Bashford Road, and Percy Hill Road, it's probably gonna shoot my $160,000 budget right there, just in repairing those. If I did them all and did them right.
And when your budget, you're talking about budget for that type of work?
Yeah, for purchasing of gravel and culvert pipes and any other thing
All
that's
those
not a
items
10-year.
involved.
Exactly. So we're kind of in trouble on our dirt roads this year. Last year we had a great, face it, we didn't have a winter. I didn't have to do much to the dirt roads over the summer other than put some calcium on them to keep the dust down because it was dry. But this winter, what January did to us is just, it's murdered us, the back roads. They're in rough shape. I think if you probably read my Facebook, I'm trying to get people to slow down, and my phone rang off the wall last month. I had over 30 calls come in. There's one petition out there for one section of road that they want paved that's going on right now. You'll see that petition. I'm surprised it's not coming in tonight. Maybe it is, I don't know. Maybe she's behind me, but that's going to be coming in. And, you know, just the amount of calls that I got and trying to explain to people that, you know, you can't get your 3,000-pound car through there. What makes you think my 80,000-pound grader is going to be able to fix the road or do anything other than make it worse at this time of year? So it's, you know,
Move the mud around.
yeah, that's, I don't make more mud.
Okay.
You know, we just to go in and fix one spot. We did have to go in and fix Highland Road. I had to actually reduce the weight limit on that and get the school bus off of it. Then we had to wait for some cool weather for it to tighten up a little bit. And then we went in there and dug it out. We dumped a couple loads of rock in there and put some gravel on it. It's just a Band-Aid. Cleaned up the ditch and got the water, you know, working down.
Which section of it?
Just below Barron's Farm, between Barron's Farm and Hunt Road. It's a spot that it's fallen apart on me before, and this year we're gonna have to dig that right out and fabricate it and gravel it and get some underdrain put in the road or something, do a spring there. But that's my depressing story for tonight.
Yeah, go away.
Next month, bring
Well,
some
there goes
good
that
news.
good financial outlook down the
I'll
road.
do that.
Thank you very much, Jim.
Well,
Thank you for being here.
I'll be in touch with you with when Mike will be available.
okay, great.